This is Progress Culture. You know, I'm glad you brought that conversation up because there was something else that you said in that conversation, not on the episode, but from what you were talking about with the saber-tooth, where you spoke about, we spoke about what the distinguishing factor of being human was.
Right.
And I had mentioned something about high development of tools, and you kind of said, yeah, but, you know, plenty of people, plenty of entities and species are figuring out or have figured out how to successfully utilize tools. I was thinking of it more in the terms of what we do with technology, but perhaps that, because, you know, it's like a high level of development of tools, essentially.
Right.
And I guess it plays into what you said, which was, what did you say?
It was art.
Yeah.
Art is a defining factor of intelligence. I mean, I was in California, and you go out to, what's a place called? Carmel by the sea. They got sea otters out there, and they'll actually take rocks and put rocks on their bellies and crush oyster shells with rocks. You know, so they're using tools. I think chimpanzees actually take sticks and they put them in anthills and use them to funnel the ants out. You know, so using tools doesn't necessarily make us human, but it's art. You know, the fact that we're able to create something that doesn't serve a purpose other than enjoyment. You know, that's something we've done since the beginning of time, you know, and I think the other gentleman that was here with us, we talked about
David Lowe.
David Lowe, yeah, he talked about how, I think it was during World War II in one of the concentration camps, you know, which was a horrible time, but there was a group in there that actually formed a band to play play music while they were being in that camp, you know, and I think so. He said someone asked him, well, why would you do that? And it was like, what else were we going to do?
Right.
You know, so that is a higher level function that no other being on this planet that we know of right now does. That creation of art, whether it's drawing, painting, music, or technology. You know, that's where it all comes from.
Is it? I sort of while you were speaking about, I was trying to figure out, is there a difference between the utilization of tools in the way that, let's just say you're saying like animals are doing it, and what I was sort of getting at with the higher developed idea,
right,
is our use of tools, the way that we use them, what distinguishes it? Because are we developing art? Do our tools facilitate the art?
I think that our use of not only art, but the development of the tools is to progress mankind and also to help. In other words, I know that sitting right here is a gentleman who designed a bookcase, and that bookcase in major flooding can be emptied and used as a boat to float. And that's saving people's lives. So that touches on both progress,
right,
and love and help,
empathy,
and hope.
Sure.
And as well as we often talk about this too, but there's there's a certain amount of technical foundation that's required, right, to execute in that, and the development of your use of knowledge and tools, I guess, and that produces I guess part of what I'm wondering is, would you say that technology is an artful development of tools?
Well, I guess it's one of those things like you talk about life imitating art, or, you know, so I don't, that's a good question. That's a really good question. And
I mean, maybe we should narrow down the definition of technology a little bit, and I do mean things like this.
Sure.
Would you consider this an art?
Well, art certainly goes into it.
Yeah.
You know, me, myself, I'm not really an artistic type person because I don't really have an eye for color and things like that. So I work with people that do have that eye. So I know when Steve Jobs was working on the, which phone was it? I forget which one. When he was designing it, he talked to his, you know, the art people. He said, I want it to look like you want to eat it. I want it to look edible, so I want it to be appealing to the eye, so that was the art going into that technology. But I do think there's a level of technology that has to go into art, when you go back to cave paintings and things like that. You go back to cave paintings, we look at an arrow, when natives of all, and talk about that, what do you call it,
Morphic resonance.
Morphic resonance. It's one thing, if we look at natives from every country around the world through history, they all use bows and arrows, every one. And they all are built the same. And so that's that level of art. And there's a technology that goes in there too. It has to be able to go straight. And what do they put? They use feathers to make it go straight. But there's an artistic purpose for the feathers too. Some say it's spiritual, which feathers they use and how it's made and that type of thing. So yeah, it all kind of goes together.